What are the best training arcs in all of anime? Why is anime so damn hard to recommend to other people? And what is going on in episodes 7 and 8 of seasonal anime? All that and more on this episode of Dad-ime. I am your host, Dallin, and with me, as always, are my great friends and otakus in arms. We've got the manga maestro, the page sage, Tyler. How's it going, Tyler?
It's going great. It's been busy. It's been a busy week.
Busy week.
Sweatband.
And on the other side of me, we've got the dungeon crawling adventurer who got isekai'd into this podcast. How did you get isekai'd, Preston? Did you get Truck-kun or was it something else?
I wish it was Truck-kun. Nah, I don't know. Maybe it had some dude, Dungeon Crawler Carl's. Damn it, donut!
Yeah, that or like just driven to insanity. That's Preston over there.
Yeah. I know what it was. It was the Zenshu. Right now, how she dies when she's like animating and stuff. I was up late night working, watching anime, and then right.
There you go. Oh, perfect. So we have this topic we've been thinking about for a week now, and that is what are the best training arcs in all of anime. And this is kind of subjective, obviously. Like each person's going to click with a different, arc, a different show. And what even qualifies as a training arc might be different amongst us all. So I think we're going to have some wildly different opinions here, and I'm actually really excited for this conversation. Who wants to go first?
You and I had one from last week that we were on the same page, Tyler, so you go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to let you go first, actually. I want you to take this one, because I want to comment. No. I have so many, though.
I can hit you off with the softball one.
Well, I think this is a softball one. So, one of the ones I was thinking about when we first brought up it was, I told you early, it was, it's Demon Slayer, and it's the very first arc when he gets his sword and it's the sword cutting arc. If you've ever watched that first season, it's honestly perfect because it introduces you to the world. You're like, what the hell are they doing to this kid? He's just going through a mountain and just getting impaled and slammed, and he can't breathe. Right? And then he's supposed to cut a rock in half, and and I'm just like, how is he ever gonna do that? Yeah. Like it was like when Master Roshi.
Metaphor, and you're like,
yeah. It was like, it reminded me of when Master Roshi tells Goku and Krillin to move mountains. That's what it felt like. I was like, there's no way he's gonna do it. And that was also one of my favorite training arcs as a kid, was the turtle shells from Dragon Ball Z.
You took one of mine. Oh, we're already off to a strong start. Yeah, the turtle shells are awesome.
That's a great training arc. It's solid.
It really is because it's simple. It's just, I mean, both of them. Actually, the Demon Slayer one and the turtle shell arc, they're pretty just like simple, standard. Like, we're not super powered yet. We're just... Yeah. We're training. We're just getting physically strong at this point.
It's like One Punch Man, just 1,000 sit-ups, 100 crunches.
Looks like
run a 10K. And you'll just be One Punch Man.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Preston, what do you got?
So in the same vein, for me, it was like Rock Lee and his training arc with when he's doing stuff with Guy. It's that same payoff. It's the same energy for me as when Goku takes off the braces when he's in fighting and drops them, and but Rock Lee's doing the same thing, and then suddenly he's like just mega crazy speed, and you're just like, oh my gosh, like.
Yeah, so that has such an impact on the series because when you're watching the guy, when you're watching him and he drops him, and then he goes toe to toe with Gaara, who by the way is kicking everyone's ass, right? And so he goes toe to toe with Gaara and breaks through his sand. Sasuke and Naruto both go, we need taijutsu.
Yeah.
He
we
are too slow.
What taijutsu can do, because the whole time everyone's like, oh, he can't do ninjutsu, he can't do this other stuff. He's just he's mediocre at best or whatever. Yeah. And then as it goes through, it just builds more and more on that. Like, okay, even though Rock Lee gets that training arc and he gets so far, everybody swings and they keep swinging off each other to get more and more. I think it's cool.
Yeah. And it's like when Sasuke goes up against Gaara, he pulls a Rock Lee. It's a perfect it's a perfect moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you highlight a really important aspect of a training arc. Like what makes a good training arc is one where not only the character gets stronger, but because of it, everyone now feels like they have to catch up, and so they go crazy trying to get up to their level because now the whole playing field is uneven again, and they're like, crap, I'm behind. I got to start working out harder. I got to gotta dig deeper and get into this. Like a good training arc makes that happen in a series.
Gotta
like
lift
in
weights
Fire
like in
Force.
Mashal. Yeah. Oh yeah, Fire Force.
Yeah.
Yep.
The
We just
hysterical
got done with
strength
that one.
training arc.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That was good.
Oh, Mashal. Mashal.
Yeah. So everyone just lifting weights.
I love it so much.
Speaking of lifting weights, my first pick is Mob Psycho 100
Oh,
because
yeah.
of the fitness club.
Yes.
I love that's like one of my favorite like running gags of that show is him just lagging in the back, dying, and they're just these jack dudes like, "Come on, you got this."
Well, and I love how like not like toxic they are. Because like when
Yeah.
he gets in trouble, like and his jack dudes are there, they're all standing behind him. He doesn't need
Hey,
them.
we're here for you, yeah.
Yeah.
Or like and like how the other team or whatever, they just get to keep using the room. They're like, you know what? Hey, it's fine. We're gonna be out running anyway. You can just hang
Just
out here.
use
It's
it.
fine.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that one dude with like the perfectly like coiffed
Yeah.
Johnny Bravo hair, like man, it's just good character design too. Like
I agree.
just such a fun little it's not really a joke, but like it is. Like it is important to the story, but it also serves as like comedic relief. And so I really like that one.
So like I think another training arc is kind of interesting in terms of like when I think training arcs are like moments where the character might already have the power but doesn't necessarily know how to use it or might need to return to their roots. So I was thinking about one and it came to me just recently and I was just thinking about it before the podcast, and Full Metal has that part where Edward has to go back to his teacher and she has to explain alchemy at its basic again. Like it's
Her
one
and her
like
husband are my favorite. Like
Yeah.
and the guy with the hair and like they walk up and they're both like, like
yeah, yeah. When Armstrong meets her husband and they're just like showing off their pecs. Yeah, that one's great. But like when he's stuck on the island and he realizes that all living things are connected, like that is it's a part where Edward like understands the root of where alchemy is coming from for him, and I think that's a really good arc for a training arc, or at least a growth arc.
Yeah.
It's a growth arc. I would say it's growth. Maybe it doesn't fit under training, but growth is
training
good.
and growth, they go hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that episode is really, or those series of episodes are really good because not only is it like a character training and character growth, but it goes back to the basics for the viewer and really like lets you understand how alchemy works in this world, because like it's kind of hazy, like you understand like the law of equivalent exchange or whatever, but it really just dives into that basic, so you're not like completely lost and you're kind of like, okay, I have this really firm understanding of how this works now.
Well, and
they do it not in a handed fisted way. It kind of brings it in a more natural feeling way, right?
Well, and it kind of like isn't that where the part where we kind of figure out that like this world, like it's where the split between science and alchemy happened, right? Like in this world, they went with alchemy instead of science, whereas in our world we went with science and not alchemy, right? Yeah.
Well, did we? Because just recently I heard that they had two particles collide and created gold.
Yeah, they did.
boy.
So pretty soon,
I'm clapping my hands soon, and you're.
Yep, pretty soon we're gonna be making alchemy circles.
Oh no, that's gonna get in the wrong hands. We're gonna have some super villains popping up here real quick.
Just gotta make sure you got destruction on one arm and creation on the other.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, and no, and honestly, that's a good like. So when I go to the gym, I have a very specific pair of anime shorts that I wear, and it is Full Metal Alchemist, and it's because of that art specifically. So you picked a good one.
Gets you pumped. Gets you pumped.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm trying to think if there's any others that are coming to mind right away, because
Gone
like
and
Demon
Killua.
Slayer's good. What?
Gone and Killua?
Dawn and Killua, yeah, for Hunter x Hunter.
Oh,
Or
dude, that's
Hunter
like the
Hunter,
whole
sorry.
show.
Yeah, that's like their whole thing. Like in that whole like, oh, we're not really strong, but we're kind of strong, and they have that weird dichotomy of like where Gon doesn't think he is, and then he gets that moment where like his hair goes, and yeah.
Well, so I think like the big apex of their training arc is when they have to fight the elder dude, the Buddhist elder dude, and they're playing like
Is that
soccer.
the nin training?
Yeah, the nin training, like it's
Okay,
right
yeah,
after. I think it's like, and he starts to figure out like rock paper scissors and stuff, like all of
Yes.
that. It's like so good, and the card one, like I was so into that.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree.
I was like, that was such a great arc,
I agree.
like beautiful.
We already said gravity training too, right? From
Yeah,
Goku?
well, yeah, Goku's
Yeah.
gravity.
That's-
His
that's
gravity
like-
training.
That's to me is the quintessential when you say training, and when I'm at the gym, that I'm like, man, I could look like Vegeta or Goku. Like, come on, let's go.
Well, dude, like I think about Goku upside down in his capsule ship going to Planet Namek, and he's just doing push-ups upside down, in like 10,000
I
gravity.
want to
He's
do
just
that.
like, yeah, suck it. Like I love
Solid.
that. That's like a peak train. That's like real, like that's like Rocky training arc. I think that's just awesome.
Absolutely. I've got a fun one. Tyler actually brought this one up, and it so credit to Tyler on this one, but the Boogie Woogie Black Flash from JJK.
Yeah.
That's a solid one, because not only is it a training arc, but they're also like it's advancing the story at the same time. Because like immediately that didn't come to my mind as a training arc. Like it wasn't until Tyler was like, "Dude, that is a training arc. What are you talking about? He's training him how to use Black
Gojo.
Flash."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, you're
not
right. You're
Gojo.
right."
Yeah, my best of friendo.
And not only that, it gives us like one of the most iconic lines of
so good.
JJK. So
Well, and it also just teaches you a lot of, it's like for us, the viewer, it's like a training arc for us, because like, he's capable of doing the Black Flash, he's growing as a character, and this is just the right person to just kind of push him in the direction we want him to go. And I was like, that's the arc.
Also, when he's doing the training with Gojo, and he's sitting there and he's watching all the movies, right? And he has to sit and like keep pushing energy, and like that same thing. Like it to me, that one had like an honorable mention, because it wasn't like anything profound, and it doesn't make me want to go work out or something, but it was one where it was different, right? It felt a little.
And it had anime Lord of the Rings in the background. And he was trying not to cry.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah. Gosh, I was trying to think of another one.
Pokemon.
Yeah.
Ash Ketchum. That's his whole thing. Is he's got to be a trainer. Like,
Yeah.
And the whole bit where he's trying to it's Pikachu's choice, but he's trying to be like, dude, you can level up, but I still love you the way you are, and we gotta kick Surge's ass and that stupid Raichu. Like that's such a good. That's such a
Well,
good.
and like Pikachu realizes like I have to work with Ash, but I actually want to throw one in there for Pikachu. The Brock training right before that, where they have to throw up against Brock, and they put Pikachu on the wheel, and they're turning it and like making Pikachu taking all that electricity. I was like, I think about that all the time. I'm like, did they mess up that Pikachu, or did they like overcharge
no,
it?
seriously. Charmander as well, like the whole Charmander arc, like keeping his flame alive and then becoming like everybody's like OG favorite Charizard or whatever. And Squirtle Squad.
Yeah,
there are a lot of mini training arcs.
Mini training arcs there. Yeah,
It's the whole show.
Yeah,
like you said, like that is the whole show. I would say also like Bleach has like the Bankai, like when he like if you're doing early Bleach, when he gets his first Bankai, and you're like, oh wow, that was a really big training arc.
Yeah.
Or the Hollow Masks when they pick up those. But Chad, I love Chad because it's so funny. Like I'm just talking about dudes with huge pucks, like pecs. Like Chad gets like the devil arm and like the light arm, and like those I just love those. Like they're awesome.
Yeah,
He's like that gentle giant.
For sure. Honorable mention for me is Guts from Berserk, and it's not really an arc, but it's just the swinging the sword 100 times a day, each arm. Just the consistency and the dedication to it. To be able to swing something like that, man. Holy crap!
And talk about like picking yourself up from the dregs of like the worst possible situation a human being could be in. Like inspirational.
Yeah,
like
well, it's like all he focuses on though too, right? It's like he's training and building up, and like I guess I'm thinking like just like I'm looking at your shirt right now, and I'm thinking like, does Sailor Moon have any training arcs? Like, is it just all her knowing how to use her power? Does they grow?
I mean,
there's power ups, they get stuff.
They kind of level up, but it's really just like the very first time. It's like Luna is just like throw your tiara and say these words, and then it works. So.
Okay, yeah.
So that's kind of the same as like Inuyasha, right? Where he goes and it's training, but he's not training. It's more like, hey, I get this thing and it powers me up, and I get this thing and it powers me up, right? So I don't know if
those really count as training arcs to you guys, like
not
like,
to me.
The power ups.
I guess it depends, because like if you're earning your power up through blood, sweat, and tears, or strife, or turmoil, or whatever, I feel like that's a training arc.
So
but if you're just getting it because you're right place, right time, yes, solo leveling, and that is actually my next pick. The solo leveling dailies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I do love the dailies, like, and I love that he accepts his award later to like heal himself. Yeah, I think that was like a great cheat in the system.
Yeah, I absolutely love that moment where he's getting his butt kicked and he's like, I'm gonna die. And then it pops up and it's like, you didn't complete your dailies today. Now it's your penalty. And he gets to go in that other world. And it's like, yeah, it's terrible in there, but he knows he can survive in there. And it gives him the chance to get some energy, some potions or whatever, and heal back up. So cool. It's like, it's almost like when you cheese a boss in Dark Souls, you like hide in the doorway and he's stuck and you just keep hitting him.
Yeah.
Or like, this is the
Sunraku.
only way I'm getting out of here.
Yeah, like Shangri-La Frontier, same thing when he cheeses it using that little what is it, the inventoria?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Back and
Drops
forth.
in there. Yep.
I mean, I think that I feel like that was such a great gamer thing because, like, how many times have you paused in like Skyrim and like just downed a bunch of fruit and then been like, "Okay, I'm back to killing a dragon because I'm out of potions. But I stole a bunch of bread."
I'm going to completely derail this conversation. So apologies. You brought up, we talked about Dark Souls. You brought up Skyrim.
Yeah.
Tyler, I got to know, are you playing Night Rain? It's officially out now. Okay.
I am.
I gotta
Totally.
get it. I gotta get your take on this because I haven't touched it yet. I've been a little hesitant. I gotta get your take. I know it's not anime related, but like, I gotta know.
It's the world of Berserk, basically, right?
Yeah, but so how does it compare to Elden Ring?
So it's like Elden Ring on cocaine. That's how I describe it. So
Cocaine
Elden Ring
bear.
is slow, and I know that seems weird to say because it's like you can't pause the game. You're always fighting some. But when you hit that side of grace, you can sit at the side of grace and you can put down the controller and go change a diaper, go do like dishes real quick, and then come back, pick up the controller, and nothing's happened to you, right? Because you're safe at the side of grace. You have 40-ish minutes to complete a run, and that's how long it takes. It takes roughly 40 minutes to an hour, and you are running from church to church, from item to item. You're just collecting stuff, and you're with 3 people, and it's like Fortnite. It closes in on you, and it doesn't really explain it well, but like you're just like, go to that thing because I'm about to die. And then you're like level 11 or level 7 if you're lucky, and you have to fight these massive and I'm going to say beautiful bosses. It's awesome. It's not for everyone. It's like, it was stressful at first for me. I've had a couple people I've been playing with and they've been like helping me figure it out. So like, I don't know. I wouldn't recommend it right away if you're like,
especially if you're
like,
with a try-hard group and they're all yelling at you like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I don't know what I'm doing."
Luckily, there's no communication. Like, there's no mics. Like, you're just gonna go in and you're just like, it's dead silent, and you just follow the person who's a veteran who knows what they're doing and
It's not
stick
like a
with
Destiny
them.
raid.
Yeah, that is the thing that keeps me off of playing online video games. I am such a single player video game kind of guy because I can't stand getting online with some people and then they just treat you like garbage because you're like, bro, this is my first time playing. I don't know what I'm doing. And they're like, you suck. It's just too much
they're
pressure.
not.
No, I do.
They're not like, I think the Souls community is kind of brutal. They're like, get good, like play better, right?
Yep.
But like, that's the thing is you're there to learn, and you have to learn with 2 other people. They are also learning. Like, we none of us know how the game works perfectly right now, but we're learning it. I would start, if you do get it, start with Iron Eye. He's the archer. So if no one picks him, pick him, because then you can kind of just follow someone, and then you're just shooting bows and you're supporting. You never run out of arrows.
Nice.
Right? You just roll, and my character's name is Praise the Roll. So I'm like rolling and just shooting arrows the whole time.
Nice.
And then when someone picks the archer, I just jump in and pick like a physical, like up in front person, because I'm good at rolling and hitting and then rolling away. So I can tank a boss. So
do you have to level up stats the same way?
So no,
or-
they're predetermined stats. So they're just predetermined stats. And then you run up to the side of grace, you press the action for the side of grace, and then you just level up if you can. If you can't, go kill another person, go kill another item, like go together and kill a boss. Like, we're taking out like golems, and we're taking out gargoyles, and we're doing it in teams of 3. And like I did the Morningstar Beast yesterday, and we just totally wrecked him. It was great to watch that thing go down with 3 people just shooting stuff at him. Like, it felt good. I was like, this is revenge.
You ever get a Behelit?
Not yet.
No.
That's gonna be that's eventually that will be in a Dark Souls game. It has to be. Every single Dark Souls game you play has some callback to Berserk. Like I started replaying Elden Ring because I was like, I gotta get used to it again before I jump into Night Rain, because it's not a game you can just jump into. Like, it takes like at least 2 or 3 nights of playing to get back in the groove of how that game works. So I've been running through, and this time I'm doing the strength Berserk gut sword. Like,
Yeah.
I
that is so easy too, right?
Yeah,
I
like,
love
it's
it.
so much easier than doing magic. You just walk up to the boss and like, I'm gonna hit you, you're gonna hit me, and then we're gonna see who goes down first.
Now, going further down this rabbit hole, if you were to say anyone was any boss you fought so far is closest to Griffith, who would it be?
That's
a
probably like
tough one.
Melania is really close. Like
Yeah, okay.
she's the most like got a pretty face. She's the most quickly to attack you.
I
Kind
was
of
gonna say
confusing.
Mikola, so we're like kind of on the same path because
Okay.
Mikola is Melania's brother, correct?
Is that the
Or
one
half
that
brother?
does consort Radon with him?
Yes, that's
Oh
the
gosh,
shadow of
that's
the
totally
tree.
Griff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally Griffiths. Gosh,
Okay.
I hated him. Ugh. I
It's one of those characters you're like,
before
oh,
the
they're so
patch,
beautiful.
like
I want to kill him.
I was just before all the cheeses too. He was so hard.
Yeah.
Like he came out just so aggressive.
Hardly any time to do anything. Yeah, you're just
No, I
dodging
just had a
and
roll
hoping
right
for
when I
your
came
life.
out the gate. I just roll quick.
Man, so okay, would you guys like if there was an anime that used the storytelling techniques and tropes of Dark Souls? Do you think it would work as an anime where it's
So
not like obvious what the story is? It's almost like you kind of have to understand the item and what that means, or like this place and why it's significant. Like, do you think you can do environmental storytelling in an anime?
I mean, no, and yeah, like there's
Okay,
it's so hard to
question.
answer your question because like there are animes where like people like they're isekais a lot of times they're like video game isekais
Right.
where you pick up an item and the guy's like I've got appraisal and I can like look at the item and it tells a story,
Yeah.
right? That's cool, but like you still need the plot, and I think that's going to be the problem. Like if you've played the games like Elden Ring, it's like the plot is kind of murky. Like you kind of get it, and then you're kind of in the world, and you're like, okay, what the heck am I doing? Why do I have to kill this guy?
Yeah.
And you're
It
kind of
seems like
figuring it out as you go.
the long form content of the video game tends to, I
Mhm.
think, lend itself better to that.
Yeah,
But to your point, Don, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever seen one that I can think of that would fit that mold.
Yeah, because
yeah.
I wonder if they ever tried to adapt. Because I know they're doing an Elden Ring movie that got picked up by
They have a
A24.
manga.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're doing a full-on movie from A24, which is maybe about the only studio I would trust to handle something because they can do weird, kind of crazy stuff. Um, so like I know it's being attempted, and I almost wonder like how would that translate to anime? And I feel like you would have to pick a character like Vike and just be like, we're gonna tell the story through the lens of Vike, or we're gonna take like I don't know, like maybe we're gonna tell about the night of the black what is it called, the night of the black knives or whatever, and tell that story. Like you almost have to kind of pick like a
Specific story,
specific
yeah.
little thing to go with, I wonder.
So my phone has been very nice to me, and there's Elden Ring: The Road to the Erdtree manga is out. And
Very
there's
cool.
a couple like
Is it like an
other
anthology,
ones.
or are they doing it like a more linear story? Because I could see it in like an anthology where you're like, all right, here's small snippets of these different people, and
I kind of
So
hope they just throw you into the world and are like, figure it out or don't. We're gonna just tell the story of like a character going through, and this is some crazy stuff over here. This is some crazy stuff over here. These guys are rotting. These
what
guys
was
are dead.
there was a movie that they came out with recently where you could watch it in whatever order.
Oh,
You
you're
know what I
right.
mean?
It was an anime. They had
I wonder if they
two.
did something like that.
Ooh, that would
That
be.
that could be cool because then you're like you said, you figure it out or you don't figure it out, and depending on what order you're watching in, it could have different like
it would be cooler to like also do it as characters. Like you
yeah.
get like Godric or you get like another character from the game, and then it just tells the story from that character's perspective, which would be like for people who've played the games or like they would
Lore
kind of
dump.
like yeah, like you would be able to get more lore, but then also at the same time you would kind of piece together the story.
It's like League of Legends, right? With Arcane,
Yeah.
they focused in on a narrow like on a couple characters that for me, I know that we have our friend Colby that there were some of his favorite characters, but
Mhm.
there were early before I was like, whatever. Like I don't really care much about Zon. I
Yeah.
mean, I want to see Teemo and I want to see the little like the Yordles and stuff, and but then it just captures your heart and
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, I have to admit, when the first time I played Elden Ring, I was like, I don't know what the hell's going on. And I found
Yeah.
this guy called Smufftown or Smotown, I think is how you pronounce it. So like shout out to this dude.
Shout
He's
out to that guy.
insane. He has like 12-hour videos that dive into a very specific part of the lore, and he has like hundreds of them. And so I just sat and like all night long, like going like because I have pretty bad insomnia, I would just listen to these Elden Ring lore videos and be like, what is the Night of the Black Knives? And I'd, watch a whole video or be like, what is the flame of blah blah blah, and just pick a topic. This dude has it all. And after going through a couple of those and now playing the game again, I'm like, oh my gosh, this game is actually so sick and the story is so cool, but like it's not readily available like you would expect
Have to look
from
for
like a traditional game, right? You have to look for it. It's in item descriptions. It's in the way this architecture looks that you can be like, oh, this must be from this age when this event happened. Like it's so crazy.
cool.
Well, and then like also like where you find an item too might play into like the story. Like I think
The
one of my
Shiburi
favorite
grapes, like that whole
Yeah.
thing. Oh my gosh.
that was once I
missed
figured out
that
what
the whole
that
first
was.
time around.
Wow. That was insane. And then also like getting picked up like Placid Dusak's his storyline is super great because he's missing a head. But then there's Bale, like if you ever when you get to Bale in the DLC, and then also in the DLC there's the Erd Tree flower. That one's insane. Or like there's just so much that's in that game. And I think another anime because like coming out of the rabbit hole now
Yeah.
that might like
Sorry about that.
yeah coming out of the rabbit hole now to like that might catch someone's interest is the Fairway Paladin, and it's definitely set in a world like that where there's dragons and monsters. It's like a dungeon crawler. It's an isekai too. It's the whole first arc is a training arc, and he takes on a god at the end of the training arc. So like I think anyone who's like I like Dark Souls might like that. It's a little whiny at times, but I like it. You know, like
Yeah.
I always want more of it.
Like obviously the first choice is Berserk. If you haven't watched or read Berserk, like there's so many references. Like Dark Souls is clearly inspired by Berserk, but
Mature content warning.
very
And
very
trigger
mature
warning.
content warning, essay triggers,
Well,
like
and-
all of the stuff.
All the things.
And I wouldn't even say like I would say that like there's nods, like it's an Easter egg. Like having the literal gut sword is an Easter egg, right? Like I would say that some monsters, I'm like, I don't know which came first, right? Like I'm like I think like the snakehead dudes, I'm like, is that Star Trek, you know, or am I like, or is that Dark Souls, or is that Berserk?
That's
like,
Mira, man. Kentaro
Yeah.
Mira had a beautifully dark, poisoned mind, and
Yeah.
R.I.P. I love that man's mind. Like,
yeah,
Yep.
gave me some of the best memories of a story. Like, I would even argue it might be my favorite story of all time. Like, I
Yeah.
like it that much, and it's not even a finished story, and I like it that much.
So when we're talking training arcs though, and we're talking like these like people who are just struggling or like growing as characters, what do you guys think about like Vinland Saga?
I haven't seen that one.
Vinland?
Okay, yeah. So Vinland starts out like this. You got this dude, and it's Thor, right? Like it's his dad's name, right?
Yeah, Thor's.
Thor. Yeah, Thor's. So basically, you got this kid, and he's got this dad who's like a legendary Viking, and he's like out of the game, right? He's like John Wick. He's done. He's no longer killing
He
people.
ran away from it all to raise a family. Yep.
Yep. And he's telling his kid, who's actually quite a good fighter, like, hey, violence isn't the answer. You don't have to be this way. And then they're sailing. They have to go meet with like, I think it's a lord, right?
Yeah, one of
Like,
them comes.
he gets
to
called off the
town,
island. Yeah, he gets called off an island, and so he's coming back, and they jump on his boat, kill his dad right in front of him, and take him away. And the whole time he's like training to kill the dude who killed his dad. He's just constantly going after this
Just
dude.
revenge.
Yeah,
Oh,
and he goes AWOL just for revenge. He kills anyone he can get his hands on, and then the story just is about healing. It's like Count of Monte Cristo, but like what would happen afterwards?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and it's also like that. How could you do something so dark and heavy to a child? And because he's a child, he's not equipped to handle it properly. So, like, what does that do to the psyche? What does that do
Mess with
to
your
like your
brain.
personality? You become this clouded, shriveled, kind of just single track human. Like you're feral essentially. Like you're not
Yeah.
living a life.
Or
But then
what
also
what humanity you do have is behind that really glassy facade, and if you break that, then you see that scared child inside.
Absolutely.
But is he innocent? He has blood on his hands, and he knew choices. His
No,
dad did teach
absolutely.
him. He does remember those things. So like I also see it as a story of like not everyone can be perfect, because
Absolutely.
when he gets to like when they're so it's like a Viking story. So like when they're looking for Greenland, right, and they're looking for like Americas and stuff, like it's like I don't really know if he is as good of a character as I thought he was. Like it makes you question how much you like him. I feel like I'm training when I'm watching that. Like, am I a good person that I rooted for him?
Yeah, that's
early on.
That's a psychological training arc, right? It's like how to be one with yourself.
Like
No,
reading,
yeah.
reading Dune.
Yeah.
Dude, the ending of Dune is so good.
Al-Gaib. Al-Gaib.
Yeah, I would also throw in there. I know we talk about this anime on the podcast a lot. It's like one of these times we should just do like a whole episode dedicated to it. But Record of Lodoss War, the main character Parn, it's the classic D&D like farm boy trope, and so the first like half of that anime is basically a training arc for him. He's with these people who are better warriors, better rangers, better clerics, all these things that kind of teach him how to be a good adventurer. And then he gets kind of thrown into this war and becomes the hero he needs to be to defeat the evil queen and the dragon and blah blah blah. So it's basically just a D&D campaign. But the first like half of that is just him leveling up and training and learning. And man, that's just such a good anime. And they just don't make them like that. Like those hand-drawn 90s animes, I'm a sucker for those. Like every time if I have the choice of like beautiful ufotable anime, hand-drawn 90s that maybe isn't always perfect, I'll take the 90s one all day. I love that. I'm a sucker for it.
It brings a lot of character to it.
Yeah.
I do have one more that I would say I really, really like. So let me just make sure I have the name right. Because if I don't have the name right, I'll be really upset. But it's History's Strongest Disciple. I'm pretty sure it's Kenochi, but I'm going to make sure. But that's the name of it. And it only has one season as an anime. But as a manga, it is so much longer than that. It's Kenichi. Kenichi's, History's Strongest Disciple, Kenichi. One of my favorite, the whole first scene, like it's all about this kid who's weak and has no talent for martial arts, who gets picked up by the world's most renowned martial artists who all live in one dojo.
Ooh, cool.
So he has like the apex masters of martial arts, like a karate master, a jujitsu master, just like an all-around master. Like you have a ninjutsu master, like someone who's like a ninja, and he's learning from all of them simultaneously. So like while one is teaching him taijutsu, the other one's teaching him karate moves. It's like so awesome for me. I loved this, and it was just a cool fighting one. I was just trying to think of like what's one where it's just their fists. I'm like Hami no Ippo and like Kenichi, and I was like that's perfect.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds so cool. I've never heard of that before, so I'm definitely gonna have to add that to my list.
It's gonna awesome. It's definitely it's a little ecchi, so keep that in mind. So it's a little pervy. But I really liked it. So fair warning to everyone who watches it.
I mean, on the pervy front, no, what is it? You looked at me that way. Now I'm questioning myself. Too wrong to pick up girls in the dungeon.
Oh, dude, I do love that one.
It's a training arc, but I don't know what it is. I am just such a sucker for that martyr Argonaut like storyline, and I know we talked about that previously, but like when he gets in there and spoiler alert for the last episode, like that whole sequence and like the bell tolling in the background and like everybody being like finally realizing, oh, I believe in this, like I yes, you can do this. Oh man, like oof, I get chills.
Nice.
I do like that one, and I hope that like I really like that one. And I keep thinking like other ones, I'm like, does Fairy Tail have a good one? And I'm like, not really. Like it's basically like you get the power up, and like I'm like, are there any more? And of course there are going to be ones that we miss, but for the most part,
I mean, I could pull up my mal and go through, and I'm sure like every single completed anime I could be like, oh yeah, that had a good training arc. It's like it's such a common trope. You could kind of go through just about any anime and find a little
Yu Yu Hakusho. The friggin' Dark Tournament, that's a great one. That's such a great one.
I mean, like Blue Lock, the whole thing is basically a training arc, right? Like, so you can even go American anime like Avatar. They're leveling up, learning the new elements.
But you gotta admit, Earth was like a solid training arc.
Earth was one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, Earth was awesome.
Fire was also really good though too.
Boomy, Boomy made it.
Yeah, well, and then just the whole like wrestling arena with Toph, like that's so good.
I am the boulder.
I'm the boulder.
We have your daughter signed the Boulder.
He's like Hulk Hogan in anime form.
I love the Boulder. I do love, but like where like Sokka gets trapped in the ground, and then the moose lion shows up, and he has to like get Sokka out. That's like every episode seems little, but it all has a huge connection to the whole story, and I'm like, I love that.
And talking about like tie-ins, the guy who plays Sokka, he plays in a one called
Dragon Prince? Is that what
yes,
you're talking
Dragon
about? Yeah.
Prince.
I
And
started
when
watching
he's
that
like,
with my
this
kids.
looks so familiar, and he's holding a boomerang. It's the same voice actor. It's a completely different anime, and like completely unrelated to it, but it's the same voice actor. He's like, man, this seems so familiar. So I don't know.
Yeah, I've been
I
watching
love
that
when
one
they
with
do that
my
kind of stuff.
kids. That if you want something to
Good.
go with your kids, that's a really fun one. It's clean, it's cute, it's good animation. It's all the things you would want to have in a family friendly anime. Love that one.
That one and Del Toro's Troll Hunter.
Troll Hunter. Yeah.
That's another solid one for kids.
Absolutely. Okay, so I had this other question that I've been thinking about, and I know I didn't ask you guys about this beforehand, so I'm putting you on the spot a little bit here. So I saw this tweet, or do they call them tweets if it's on X? What do you call them now?
I think we just call them tweets.
Right, no,
Your
not
tweet?
that.
So this came from
It's called
Twitter
tweets.
/X. It's from a user, Scarlet Miracle, and they say recommending anime is hard because every anime has some amount of anime bullshit, and it's hard to know what someone's threshold for specific types of anime bullshit is unless you know them extremely well.
Yeah, so
And so it
Yeah.
got me thinking, like, why is it so damn hard to recommend anime? Because I'll tell somebody about an anime that was a 10 out of 10 for me, and then I'm like, did you like it? And they're like, I watched 2 episodes, cringy. Or they'll be like, I really liked this one. I'm like, that anime is ass. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So like, why do you guys think that it's so specific to the individual?
So like there's just like I think she nailed it. Like it's just like what the bullshit meter is. So like if you hate Power of Friendship, Fairy Tail is gonna piss you off. But like I can ignore Power of Friendship. He eats fire. I think that's awesome. Right? Like but if you are like, okay, well I want to see actual growth, right? Like Solo Leveling is like, hell yeah, that's all on him. It's pretty freaking good. But if you're like there's a digital overlay for you but no one else, like
And I think it kind of depends on what stage of life you're in too, right? Because there's certain animes that they hit hard when you're at a certain age. Like for me, if I were to watch, not free run,
the free is hitting hard for me. Like
I know my
That's because we're old. We're old
I know,
dads.
my
The
gray.
I got some grays. It's hidden in my hat. You can't see it.
What's the one? She's the auto mechanica doll. She types and she writes the letters, the people's feelings, but she doesn't understand
Violet
them.
Evergarden?
Violet Evergarden?
Yeah, Violet Evergarden. Like, before I was a father, I don't know that would have hit as hard. But then there were certain episodes I was bawling, like, and that same thing. Like, if there's certain things that like the base humor or whatever else, like I think it really just kind of depends on what stage of life the person's in too.
Yeah, that's a really interesting like way to approach it. I hadn't even thought about that, but it's true. Kind of what age you are when you watch a show will determine how hard it hits for you, just because your life experience is so different.
Well, yeah, like when I was a teenager, it was easy for me to ignore like whiny animes, right? Like there are parts in Full Metal that like Edward is just a bitch. And he's whining the whole time. And it's like,
Evangelion.
bro, you got magic. Chill out. Right? Like, but then at the same time, I'm like, now when I go back and I watch it, I'm like, he's not whining, bitch. This is just traumatic. Right?
Yeah.
Like, right? This is just traumatic. He's a
You have
kid.
empathy.
Yeah, I have empathy, right? Or like, you know, there are animes where it's like, okay, you're screaming a lot into the dialogue. Can you chill? It's like Demon Slayer does that a lot. Like they just
Zenitsu is my damn curse, man. I can't stand that.
Because it brings you out of the like, because like when I'm thinking about the who's the dude with the 2 swords and all the wives, what's his name?
Uzui?
Yeah, Uzi. When I'm thinking about his fight with the demon, when he like actually like loses like parts of his like eye, right?
Yeah,
like,
when he gets scratched up and whatever. Yeah, and
dude,
doesn't
that
he lose
fight
his
was
arm?
so that fight was so insane. It was so beautiful, so well done. And then
The guy
Zuitzi
who
is like,
does the voice acting for the bad guy is all like,
Why do you think I'm so ugly?
yeah, oh man, like
and that I'm like, oh, I can't stand this right now.
I have to say though, as much as I hate Zenitsu as a character, Alex Lee, the voice actor, is a fantastic voice actor, despite being handed a crappy character like Zenitsu, because he turns around and wins Best Voice Actor for just Sun Jinwoo in Solo Leveling. Like the guy is talented. So like, as much as I hate Zenitsu, I want it to be very clear. Not that this is ever going to get to Alex Lee or anything, but like Alex Lee, like I bow to you. Like very well done.
I agree.
So I mean,
Oh,
I love my animes, but like at the same time, like you do have to be able to like, can you stand Goku and Vegeta saying, "I'm leveling up, power level
Right.
9,000 like 1,000 times"? Like, can you look past that? Because if like
Or
my
if someone's
Meg can't
sensitive
look
to like
past it,
male chauvinist like
Mhm.
tropes,
yeah.
or if there's something that's a little bit more, friendship is magic. The My Little Pony. Like, what is their tolerance for those different things? I think that also kind of plays a role in it.
Yeah.
But like,
So,
yeah, like the question is, why is that so hard? Like,
well,
I just because it.
it brings me to my next question, which might be a little bit easier to answer, I think. Let's say you have 3 anime that you could absolutely recommend to anybody, and 3 anime you would never recommend to anybody. Do you think we could come up with a list?
I think we
It could
could.
be between us all.
Berserk
So
is always at
let's
the
start with
top
the
of my
one. Let's start
list.
with the one that
Berserk's
you
the one that I
cannot recommend, because I think that's
Berserk,
easier.
I
Berserk's the
think,
one that I can't recommend
yeah,
unless I know that they're okay
yeah.
with like
So
going deep. That kind
if
of stuff.
they listen to me or if they listen like to my suggestions, like, you got something heavier, I'm like, yeah, I got something heavier,
I got
right?
something for you.
Because like, yeah, I
Like,
think about like our friend Colby. I don't think I
yeah,
would ever recommend him Berserk. Like, I know he likes dark fantasy and stuff, but like I kind of know what his tolerance levels are, and I know what he's uncomfortable with. I'm like, it's not for you, man. Like, just trust me on this one. Don't even watch it. You will
yeah,
be mad if you watch it. Just like,
yeah.
don't do it.
So like that one, like it's kind of one that one I'd put into like a it gets its own category almost. Like it's not like always recommend, it's not never recommend. It's like open in
In the right
case
circumstance.
of like
Yes.
possible anime bestie, right?
Yes.
Besto friendo loss.
Yeah.
The best
Yeah.
of friendo pick.
Still put it no.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I would
which
say that one of the tying themes between all 3 of us on this panel is Berserk is like one of our goats, right? Like we
yeah.
all think Berserk is a goat.
Vote on it.
Yeah.
I don't ever recommend. So like, here's one of the ones I never recommend to people because I'm such a fanboy of it. I don't feel like I can. It's One Piece. I don't like. I didn't bring it up as a training arc, but it's got the 2 year gap. It's got the Wano arc that just came out. It's got a ton of training arcs that it's just like it's full of them. But here's the thing: it's not for everyone. It's just I know that the One Piece crew that I love and like all the fans that love it, like we love it because we've sat down and we've spent the time with it. I never would suggest that for someone else. Like I would always say, like, if you want to watch it, you need to have the time set aside to watch it. Or you need to find the One Piece, or you need to go wait till they reanimate it, like do something. But
I
like
agree.
don't just do it right away. Like it's just gonna eat so much of your life, and it's okay. There's so many other great ones out there.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. One for me that I would never recommend to people, same thing, unless I know them very well, is Devilman Crybaby. I think it's maybe the first or the second episode where they're in like a strip club
Oh yeah.
and like the boobies turn into like mouths and start eating people. I'm like, I just know immediately half of my friends are gonna think think of
What?
me like a creep as soon as they find out that I watched it and I liked that.
okay,
They're gonna be like, "What is wrong with you? Who hurt you?"
so if I have someone who's like watched Game of Thrones or who can deal with like a little bit of like like a new world, like, and kind of like dive into it, like I almost always go Full Metal. Full Metal is like my go-to. Like it is an easy pick. It's got everything I need in it. It's got everything you want in it, and it does. I say it doesn't matter which one you pick, but probably start with Brotherhood, right? Like you'll like either one.
Yeah,
I agree.
that's a solid one.
So that's a
Do you have
definitely
a go-to recommendation, Preston?
Yeah, I'd say the one that I shy away from, starting with that, would be Naruto for the same reasons that Tyler was mentioning. It's one that is it's a long haul, but it's one that's near and dear to my heart. Even my kids, they'll walk around and do Thousand Years of Pain. So if you ever bend over in my house, just watch out because you will end up getting.
You
dude.
get the credit card.
When
Yeah.
I see like a ball of
You'll at
fire,
least hear him go 1,000 years of, and then you can get on right out of the way. But
I when I see fireballs at concert, I'm like, do I do the?
yeah, 100%.
Nice.
But again, for that same reason, it's one where like I get that it's not for everybody, but for me it's that ninja way, that just the Naruto and like his perseverance, like I don't know, guilty pleasure.
Yeah, I feel like I'm surrounded by 2 of the big 3 because we've got Naruto and we've got One Piece, and I was too late to be the Bleach guy for this podcast. So like, sorry guys, we only get
That's okay.
2/3 of the big 3 here.
That's all
but
good.
I mean, like there are those ones that just sneak up and are really good, like Cowboy Bebop. Like you could watch that, or Samurai Champloo. You could watch that. Like if I have someone who's just like into like kind of like who can watch the gritty and like the weird, like then yeah, like those are good, easy top picks. Like just go watch those ones. That list is easy.
Yeah.
But if you've got kids, like I'm like thinking
Yeah.
My Little Witch Academia is super great. Like
Honestly,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. That's such an easy recommend because it's basically like Harry Potter for tweens. Like
Yeah.
it's good stuff. It doesn't do very many of the anime tropes. Like that's a solid pick.
yeah.
Wisteria Wand and Sword. If I know a Harry Potter fan, like that's a good one.
Dude,
Okay.
yes. I've tried to tell so many people about that show. It's such an underrated gem. Like it flew under the radar. I don't like hardly hear anybody talking about that one.
So I tried
and
to
it
read the
is
manga
kick ass.
and I didn't like
I
it,
agree.
but I could see visually it would be really cool.
Like
Um,
it was pretty, and I think that's what I liked the most about it is that every time it was a set piece. They'd pause, like you could pause it at any time, and you could just look around the room, and you're like, oh look, there's like the heart of a goblin on the shelf, and oh look over here, there's also like so much detail,
Yeah.
and it just broke my brain.
I
loved
think
it.
that takes a really good director. Like that's a director roulette kind of moment. Like
Yes.
to take a manga that I'm like, I don't really like this that much. Shelve it, right? It's shelved right now for me. I'm like, I'll come back. And like you guys are sitting here saying it's great, it's well animated, it's good story. Maybe I just didn't have the eye like the director did. Like
Yeah, and,
Right,
and a
man,
lot of
then-
times just getting it off of the page and putting some
Yeah.
motion to it and kind of seeing it, like you said, from that different lens,
Better
just
medium.
makes the difference. Yeah, it's better.
Okay.
It's better suited to an anime than it is to a manga.
so I feel
think.
like Full Metal makes it to our top list. I feel like
Yes.
I like a One Piece and Naruto, which it's super hard to say that makes it to like I wouldn't recommend it right away.
Yeah.
Right list.
That's
right?
like if I recommend it to you, you know I trust you.
Yeah. Like you're gonna go in for the long haul on this one,
Yeah.
because like it's the same with Bleach, right? Like I wouldn't be like
Yep.
Bleach is like one you pick
Yeah.
up right now. I'd be
Get
like
some
you're
and
gonna struggle. It was made for TV, so remember that,
Yeah.
right?
I
Because
would
made for
say
TV changes things.
You could probably throw Goblin Slayer on the don't recommend pile too. Just the first episode alone
Yes.
is gonna
Trigger
make
warning.
people be like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" Why
That's our
did you
friend of
recommend
box.
that?
there's what was the other one? There's a Skeleton Knight one that does very similar. That has that same
Overlord?
Undead.
unwanted undead skeleton knight or
Yeah,
something,
something
like
or
that.
whatever. Yeah. In that same vein, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no shame, so,
So-
I feel like if I like something and I know that the person likes that genre, I'll probably recommend it. But I don't know.
There was one I watched I really Delicious in Dungeon. It is such an easy one for me to recommend if someone's scared of anime. Right? If I'm like if you need an anime to watch Delicious in the Dungeon. If you like Delicious in Dungeon, we'll upgrade you to Fear Index.
Yeah.
Right? There's an upgrade. There's a tier 2 chart, tier 3, best of friendo box.
This is anime 101. Then we're
Yeah.
gonna get to 102.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're gonna introduce harems and ichis in 104.
Yes,
See-
once you get to the 200s and the 300s.
I don't know, man. I've been watching for a bit now, and I still am like I can't get through those.
Okay. Okay.
They're
yeah.
hard.
I think that's
Yeah,
just
now
my
that you
personal
said-
preference. I think I've just decided,
Yes.
like, I guess that's where my line is the ecchi
Yeah.
and the harems. Is I'm like, that's apparently where I think anime becomes cringe. It's right
I
there.
can ignore some ichi as long as it doesn't like lean into it the whole time.
Fire
I can
Force is
ignore
a
it.
perfect example. I
Yeah.
can handle some, but don't make it the plot.
Versus High School of the Dead.
The
Nailed
boob
that one.
physics
That
alone.
That one, I think, now that I say that out loud, that one and Tenchi Muyo is another one that when I was a kid, I was just like, oh yeah, this is great. Now that I watch it later, it's very much a harem anime.
So what about like what is it? It's starts with an M. It's the one where he gets isekai'd. That's really raunchy.
Mushoku Tensei?
Mushoku
Yeah,
Tensei.
that one. See, that one's weird. Like I can ignore some of it, but it's also really whiny at sometimes. Like the bullshit meter should just go all the way to the end, but it's the combat, it's the conflict.
I think I
That's in
lied
between.
because I said I can't do ecchi and harem, and that show is both, and I love that show. So I think I'm
Yeah.
a liar. I just lied on this podcast like 5 seconds ago. Because season 2 is basically just like, no, I can't pick between my green-haired waifu and my red-haired waifu. No, I think there's gonna be a blue-haired waifu later. Like, come on.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
bro.
still
Like, you nailed
watch
it.
and like it.
But I think one of the things that's like hard about that one is that there is like I think there needs to like as an adult when watching these things like there's conflict and there's resolution, there's growth, there's trauma. And I do think in that one, like, he's whiny. I don't like the premise of like why he stays inside the house. I don't like the premise of why he goes all depressed at the end of the first season, but I understand, you know, like, and I'm like, whatever, that's how you chose to write that. But God, is your magic awesome, and is your world cool, right? The world is what I'm there for. You're just the dude taking me through it, right? Like,
yeah, it's almost like, give me a different character in the same world and I will still watch it. That's how
I'll
much
take the
I
green
like
haired dude any day.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the from the Demon Continent. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For sure.
I love that. But so I think that's like I think you need to know where you're. I think like it's so hard to recommend. So you kind of have to do like, what do you like to watch? I think there just needs to be a questionnaire. But it's like, what movies would you recommend, Alan, to someone who's just getting into movies for the first time? It's like, whoa, hold on, how did they get this point where they never?
Well,
watched
first
a
of all,
movie?
how have you never seen a movie?
But I mean, we have a friend, we have Val, who hadn't watched any movies.
That's true.
Up,
she grew up
yeah.
very religious and wasn't allowed to watch like anything. And so yeah, for me, it's like, well, I have an easy one. Lord of the Rings is my number one always. Like, I will recommend that to anybody through the end of time.
But that's going to be so hard for someone who's never watched movies. Like, that's a trek.
Star Wars.
Right?
I'll recommend
Star Wars
that to anybody.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's one that you can suspend. Like, you have to spend reality in Star Wars a little bit. Right?
Yeah. See, because I have movies that I love that I think are 10 out of 10s, but I wouldn't recommend to people because I'm like, the pacing is slow, or like, I know that like, I'm here because I enjoy this director, or I enjoy the cinematographer, or whatever. So I'm not going to recommend it to somebody. Like, there's movies that I think are amazing and I would never recommend them. And so I guess it's the same thing for anime, right? But
yeah. So I think you need to know where their bullshit meter is. Are they going to get turned off by whininess? Or are they going to get turned off by "to be continued next episode" when Goku goes Super Saiyan almost?
Next time on Dragon Ball Z. Oh, dude, we did it in sync. That's a clip right there. If I ever saw one.
Yeah. So like, are you gonna be like, yeah, So I'm never suggesting Dragon Ball Z to someone who can't handle two dudes screaming at each other for 30 minutes.
Or bromances, yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I guess it's how well do you know people? Because I don't know that I could just recommend an anime to just like the first time. Like, say you go to work, it's your first day on the job, and someone's like, "I heard you like anime." Are you immediately going to give them one? Like, absolutely.
Yes, I have one.
You have one? Okay.
Studio Ghibli. It's so easy. Okay, My Neighbor Totoro, Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle. If you like any of these, once I figure out which one you like, I've got a whole train for you to go down.
Yep.
Oh, you nailed it.
Yeah. So I think we've been wrong this whole time. Like, we're trying to figure it all out. It's Studio Ghibli and Avatar: The Last Airbender. You're good to go.
Yeah, you just say, do you like Disney movies? Well, we've got something.
Meter. We just got to find, here's the Ghibli meter. You got to figure out where you land on this. And that's where.
Can you handle trauma? Can you handle your parents turning into pigs? Okay, cool. We'll do Full Metal. Yeah. That's Full Metal. That's the train for Full Metal.
About the aftermath of war. Grave of the Fireflies.
Yeah. Well,
you like pigs who can fly? Porco Rosso.
Well, if you like all those things, Howl's Moving Castle is for you.
Golems? You like golems? Castle in the Sky. Boom.
Yeah.
You like cats and bread? We got Kiki's Delivery Service.
Oh, dude, my wife like literally was like, "Hey, can we watch Kiki's Delivery Service?" Like 2 years ago.
Get cozy.
She used to watch that when she was a kid. She used to watch Sailor Moon every day when she was a kid. And then when she got Kiki's Delivery Service back, like when I purchased it and everything, like she's just like, I want to watch more of this. And so we watched a lot more Studio Ghibli. Then she looked up at some animes that she wanted to try, and we started trying them. I would say Studio Ghibli is the best intro for it. And I was listening to the creators of Avatar talk, and I think part of it is they have to hand draw everything before it becomes fully animated. Everything has to be hand drawn. So it can't be a concept in your head and then digitized. It has to be hand drawn first. I think that really helps, because like that's kind of where Avatar, I think, gets its beauty too. Because they have to make the movements fluid. They have to make them real.
It's the human touch. And I think this is kind of harping back to something I said forever ago, but like, this is why I think I love 90s anime more than the stuff that comes out today. Because somebody had to be super intentional and take white and be like, I'm highlighting that very specific piece of hair, or like the glint in their eye is coming specifically from this angle just for this one frame that you probably wouldn't even notice. But if I get it wrong, everyone will notice. You know what I mean? Like it just had that human touch, that like walking the tightrope. And nowadays it's just like point A, point B, computer does the rest. And it's like, and I don't want to downplay what animators are doing. Like obviously it's great. It's amazing. Computers are a tool that, lessen the load, but man, I just love the human element in animation.
If you guys liked Kiki's Delivery Service, did you guys ever watch, this is a tangent, Mary and the Witch's Flower? Did you ever watch that one?
No, that sounds.
Which one's that? Is that a game?
Is it Harriet or Harry?
So this one, let me look at it. This one is
Blue flower on the front.
Mary and the Witch's Flower. She's got red hair. Essentially, like it's very similar. Where she finds this flower, it gives her these awakens these powers. In other words, that makes her kind of like into the witching world. And she gets this broom and she goes off, and it's kind of like the Hogwarts experience type thing, right? But it has it feels to me a little bit of like Spirited Away mixed with a little bit of Kiki's Delivery Service.
And she's in a cottage, right? Like she's just like in the outskirts. Yeah, I've watched this. I fell asleep during this one, and I feel really bad because like it was so calming at the beginning.
It is so calm.
It was so slow moving that it was like I had gone off work. I was tired. We sat down to watch, and I just passed out after that. It was like it is a lot like a Studio Ghibli film. It's a lot like Kiki's Delivery Service, where it's slow paced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, we've talked about an hour about these two things. So let's move into our seasonal discussion, and we'll just keep it brief. Like we have been kind of moving this way, I think, as the podcast has gone on, of let's just hit the highlights. Like if you've watched it, you've watched it, right? Like we don't need to harp on it. So let's just hit some of the highlights. So we watched episodes 7 and 8 this week in preparation so we can watch 9 and 10 next week. And then we'll do 11, which is the penultimate, and then the finale of 12. And I can't believe we're almost done with the season already. Like it has flown by. Seriously. But let's start. Why don't we start with Sword of the Demon Hunter and just hit that one real quick? So episode 7, I'm not going to lie, complete snooze fest for me. I was like so disengaged with this one. It was, they tracked down a painting that was supposedly like the cause of demonic activity.
And I thought we dealt with this in episode like 2 with his dad, like when he went and visited his dad's house.
Yeah.
This is his dad again.
Yeah,
and
it's just
he's
rehashing.
Healing. Yeah, it's a little bit of a rehash.
Yeah, and so we find out like, okay, there's this painting, it's spooking people out. So he traces it back to its source, talks to the guy who painted it, finds out that this painter knew his dad, and the painting was actually based off the girl that the dad was protecting, sort of like how he was supposed to be the protector of this other girl. So there's all these like mirrors and like parallels to his past life. But you're right. It's like we already tread on this ground. Like, what are we doing? We're on episode 7, and you're telling me something we knew from episode 2. Yeah. So for me, this was a snooze fest episode. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I was like, oh,
but painful. I believe episode 8 is a part 1, so it's part 1 of another part.
Yeah,
and we're getting introduced to a new character. So
yeah, and honestly,
but we're still at the Soba shop. So Soba,
yeah, Soba.
So I think out of all of our animes we've chosen, this is probably the weakest one. Like it's one you could probably pass up, but it's like if you want something slow and you want something that's like, Demon Slayer, go for it.
For me, it's like we're getting to. I think this is becoming a 2-core show, and I'm like, I don't think I'm going to carry it into the second half of the season. Not that it's bad. It's animated well. It does have good writing, but it is like very slow, and it's very like episode of the week, or like 2 episodes kind of come to one episode. It's very like, I don't know. It's just not my cup of tea, but I could see how someone would really like the show, and I would go, yeah, okay, I get it. I understand why you would like this.
There's definitely a lot more Japanese culture in this show than I think in other parts, and it's kind of like the medieval culture, or I guess the feudal culture.
The feudal.
Yeah, the feudal culture. I don't want to say medieval. That's not right.
Yeah. So, I don't want to score it yet. Like, I want to wait until we finish the season before I score it. But
yeah, I might be at the ultimate episode and be like, oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. This is one of those shows where it could turn on a dime, and it has before a couple of times already. So it's like, it's very wishy-washy. So for me, it's trending low and lower each week. But, there are upsides to it. So
especially when you're watching it next to Hero X. Like,
yeah, that's so true.
It's so true.
Hero X is
so
insane.
Yeah,
so we left off with Isol, like basically, I don't know, someone hired to kill
Yeah.
the producer
Parents.
of the new ESO.
Lucky.
Yeah, and then so in episode 7 of To Be Hero X, we get essentially it's a build up to this huge duel between old Isol and new Isol. And we get like a training montage. Speaking of training montages, this kid starts leveling up and working on his skills. He doesn't have half the R&D budget of the other guy, but his trust rating or his popularity rating or whatever is rising daily. His trust value, yeah. And the old Isol is dropping daily. And so we get this moment where it kind of like does the slow motion where they crash into each other, and then it cuts to like a graph, and it's like there's only one Isol. One of them's dead, and like the destruction is so big nobody can really see what's going on. But then at the end of the episode we see the new guy, because you can tell by his outfit and everything, the new Isol has defeated him, because he goaded him into using his like ultimate attack, which has like a delay or something, and it left him open. And it was all planted by, I don't know if you remember that old guy who runs the restaurant,
Soda shop.
yeah. He, speaking of soba shops, right?
Mm-hmm.
Except I think this guy does soda, right? Soda, whatever.
He has like
whatever.
the little tapioca balls, boba.
Yeah. And so he goads them basically through social media, pays for this big campaign. And then when it ends, we find out that was the dude who hired the hit out. So this is a shaker and a mover, and he's making some big plays. He's the little.
I feel like it's like a Final Fantasy trope. Like he's got the ponytail, and so like I feel like
so true.
Yeah.
The whole time when I first saw him, I was like, he seems like he's like that father figure. But I really feel like we're gonna end up in like Full Metal Alchemist territory where he like becomes like,
I do think like, I do feel that way, but I was like, he feels like he's gonna stab us in the back. Like, shifty eyed with him. But I also want to point out, why,
Preston, are you the shifty eyed mover and shaker of the podcast? I better watch my back. He's coming for me.
But I do want to point out, that's funny. So I do want to point out though, like I'm a little confused on this story arc. I like Nice's story arc, and then on this story arc, Isol's like was there when his parents got killed and was first on the scene. Like there's a little bit of gratitude I thought that like Isol might show. Like he might show towards Isol, and then obviously, but then he doesn't. He doesn't care.
Well, I mean, it's rumored that the Isol department, maybe not Isol himself, but the people involved with Isol might have been the ones to take out the hit. That's kind of the running like rumor mill. And I think this guy is just so hellbent on revenge because it's the guy he let go earlier when he choked him, and he didn't take that guy out, and it came back to bite him. And so I think he's just so hell-bent on whatever, and this is the story he gets pointed to, and he just runs with it without really thinking clearly or thinking about anybody else.
He wants an alternate reality or paradigm to latch onto, and that's the first one that kind of
absolutely. Okay. And then episode 8, we're already onto another hero, and this is the one thing that I dislike about the show is I feel like we don't get enough time with each hero, because I was just really starting to like Nice. I was more interested in Nice's story. Then we got Isol, and I'm like, okay, like he's cool. And then by the time I start liking Isol, it's like now we're on to Lucky Cyan, I think is her name, and she's like, we get her backstory, and she's like this, like her power is luck essentially, and so like when people are around her, things happen, good luck happens.
She's like domino.
Yeah,
like, I don't think that. Yeah.
But people start taking advantage of her. She's like a foster kid or like an orphan, so she's in this orphanage, and the sisters who are like raising her are all like, tell me what college my kid should apply for. Well, this person wants to get married. Who should she get married to? And then she'll like say, and all the success happens. So they're totally just taking advantage of her. And the guy running the orphanage is like, that's enough, stop it. And then he ends up taking advantage of her and being like, she's going to help us make our faith even bigger, and like puts her on stage singing church songs basically, and bringing in more and more followers. And she decides, she meets this kid who has like unlucky, so just like the opposite of him, and they meet and they kind of influence each other. And at the very end, instead of doing the performance she's supposed to do, she rips off her nun stuff and she's like a rocker chick, and the dude's playing the guitar, and they storm out of there and escape off into the night. And that's kind of where it ends. So it's like another origin episode, kind of another nothing burger episode, other than the fact that we meet some new characters. But it's like,
but it's also like a character who's been in the background. Yeah, but it's also a character who's been in the background. And I'm like, I don't really want to see the Japanese pop star trope, right? Yeah. Like, because that's what's going to happen. Because Lucky Cyan was the band that we wanted the new Isol to go to. So like,
or Isol, sorry.
Yeah, but I think that I I don't know. Like I like the way that I like the animation. I feel like they have the ability to tell really cool stories. I want to see more from them. That's my answer. Like I like it. I
Yeah.
think like the music's good, the storytelling's good. They've got something. Just
Yeah,
more
I think
time
I'm
with the
just
I
waiting
characters.
really
for
hope
the
there's a
next.
payoff.
Yeah, I think I'm just waiting for the next hero that I connect with because the
Mhm.
last two it's been so. Like Nice for some reason I connected with like pretty much instantaneously. The other two kind of like had to warm up to them, but I think I'm waiting for that next hero that's going to get introduced. And I'm like, that's my guy or gal or whatever, you know. So we'll see. Like it's enough to keep me entertained. Like I still think it's a solid show. Like you said, good animation, good music. So
Now, the whole time I'm watching Lucky Sand, I'm just thinking Oshinoko.
yeah, it's like if I wanted this, I would just go watch K-On! Or Oshinoko. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. And at least you get the little kids with the batons.
Yeah. Okay, and then let's move on to let's do generic romance real quick. Colon generic romance, and we'll just hit the highlights on this one too. So seven.
Oh,
Um,
7 was insane because like the highlight of this one is that you start to piece together that Kowloon, she can't leave Kowloon, right?
yes, that's
And
the way that this one ends is on that cliffhanger
yeah.
of you can't get out of here. You will disappear.
Oh, also there's ramen. There's just so much ramen. Just a wall of ramen.
There's just a lot with this one. Yeah, so like she finds out I'm blending 7 and 8 together because I watched them
Mhm.
back to back really close. So my brain is kind of fuzzy on where one ends and where the other one begins.
So we find out that like they're gonna plan a trip and they're gonna leave Kowloon, right?
Right.
And then they're gonna
She's
fly
going to
out.
Hong Kong to buy new curtains or something like that for her apartment.
Yeah,
I think is the
but like it's
the
like
thing.
it's a vacation, so she's gonna leave Kowloon, but she's not from Kowloon. She came to Kowloon to hide. She
Yeah.
can see the city. Other people can't see the city. And Kujaraya A, like the Kujaraya we know,
Yeah.
is gonna try to go with her. And Kudo has told her, "You cannot leave. Do not
Yeah.
leave." Right? And the last, like I think the last episode, the city like fell apart. And
Yeah,
we're starting
a
to like
building
see both
collapsed.
cities. Yeah, we're starting to see both cities now. So we're finally being showed city like the first, like the collapsing city,
Where
and
the
then
overlap
this
is.
fake Kowloon,
Yeah.
which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, we get some backstory to that doctor who is kind of creepy, and like in any other, anime trope, not maybe as creepy as we thought originally. Because once you start to understand their backstory, you're like, well, okay, I can understand where they're coming from. You get to see that character meet Gwen for the first time and kind of like how they fell in love, and it almost becomes this like perfect timing because it's June, right? It's Pride Month, like it becomes a story of like accepting people for who they are, like regardless of their orientation, gender, things like that. Because we find out this doctor dude is both male and female. Like, I don't know how that happened. He's like some clone or something that got both. I don't know. Maybe it's the goldfish thing, like you said earlier, where like they can create their own. I don't know. That's still yet to be answered. But Gwen loves him regardless, and so it's kind of a good like message of like
Yeah.
loving people and respecting people regardless of their identity, and not demanding, are you a man, are you a woman? Like it doesn't matter to Gwen. He's just like you're who you are, and that's what I like. And so
Yeah.
like some positive messages there. But then we get into like the more like conspiratorial side of this because what's her bucket Yao Mei leaves and does go to Hong Kong, and she goes to an internet cafe to start researching what happened to Kowloon, and she does find out, yeah, the second city was collapsed 3 years ago. She shouldn't be able to see it, but somehow she does. She starts chatting with this guy, and they start sharing theories and why are we looking into this? We want to bring it into the light. Oh, it must be this pharmaceutical company is trying to hide something and bury something. And then when it ends, we find out she was sharing information with that white-haired guy who we just got introduced to with the shark tooth. So like, is this guy on her side? Is he on the pharmacy side?
He's on the pharmacy side. He's Gene Terra's side.
Yeah.
Because you see him working with the snake guy, and they're all talking together about it.
But the snake guy's not even on the pharmacy side because he's trying to take down his dad.
He's just trying to use Gene Terra though to take down his dad. He's like think of him like a corrupt like COO. Like he's not in charge, but he's gonna take you out.
Yeah. So there's weird stuff there. And then the very end of episode 8, there's a duplicate of who's that like child star? Oh, I can't remember her name all of a sudden.
It's not Yao Mei.
It's not Yao Mei, it's the other one. Zhouhei? Hey,
I think so.
Zhouhei, something like that. There's another version of her spying on her in Kowloon, and it's a male. So I don't know what's going on. But I
Oh.
think the big takeaway is Kujiraya talks with the doctor, and he says, "You're not a clone. You're not a Zirconia. You're something different. We'll just call you a generic." So we get the tie into the title now.
Well, but then I also think that like there's this interesting thing to go over. Remember the goldfish who is like it kind of is its own thing. It can clone itself, right?
Right.
And it's trapped in that metal fish tank.
Trapped
It's
in second-
Kujiraya, and its name is Success, right? Like it succeeded, it's done something, but it can't really do anything inside that damn fish tank. And Kujiraya can't do anything while she's trapped in Kowloon because nothing in Kowloon is real.
Yeah. Oh, and I almost forgot.
tank.
It gets a little bit adult because Kujirai and Kudo, they get naked. So, I mean, it's obviously implied. It's anime.
It's a
not,
romance.
It's not. Yeah, it's a romance, but
It's a romance, and we've been building this whole time.
yep.
So
And I appreciate that because I'm tired of these ones where it's like, oh, he touched my hand on accident. Oh my gosh. And it's like, no, this is an adult relationship. Like, knock it off.
Yeah.
And so
No,
I
I think that's
I
funny,
appreciate
too.
it from that perspective.
I think that's super funny. Like when they touch hands, and then it's like the flash frame of them thinking, and it's just so many thoughts. And I'm like,
can't
oh my god,
believe
this
it.
is so funny because it's like that's how it's like to be 14.
Exactly.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
Like you're just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Yeah. Oh, and then finally Fire Force.
Yeah.
Wait, so this is kind of upsetting for I think people who've watched the show this whole time. And like if you're really into Fire Force, you have the sisters are going to be the big highlight on this one, the nuns.
Yeah,
And-
they're the big piece of 8, right? Because 7 we get the mask. What does he Benji call himself again?
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Oh yeah, the Mask of the Moonlight.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Moonlight Mask or something like that. Like
Yeah.
it's a tuxedo mask trope, right?
Tuxedo Mask reference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he jumps in, bails them out, and he's like, "Oh, I really want to take these guys. They look so
Gonna
fun."
fight some.
And Joker's like, "Well, I don't know, man. Like, let's save it for another day." He's like, "I don't think you can take them by yourself." And he's like, "Wait, maybe you can, but like, let's not find out today." Like, it's so good.
Because I think about that part where they go to the government facility with just Joker and Benny, and he just walks out in front, and he just walks in, and he just takes everyone out, and I just love that.
We call him the God of Destruction.
Yeah, I want to see more of Joker and Benny together. Like they're the show, really. Like I know everyone
They're
loves
so fun.
Shinra and Arthur and everybody else, but for me, I'm like, just give me a buddy cop movie of Joker and Benny Maru. That's what I want.
Yeah,
I feel like Benny Morrow should have had his own show. Like he was just such a solid character.
I agree.
Yeah.
But so Mask of the Moonlight shows up, gets them all out. Is 7 really like that amazing?
No, not really. It's just kind of
Yeah.
resolution to everything that happened and kind of like the heroes are in their downtime, which, to be fair, every good story needs that moment where they come back, they get their rest, they get their relaxation. They're kind of beat up. They know that they got to level up.
Recuperation.
Look,
Yeah.
they took out Burns. They knew they saved Obi. They set out what they needed to.
Oh,
but we
did
know
they
that
take out Burns or did his doppelganger?
well, Burns isn't really done with his doppelganger either. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but we did finally get an answer on doppelgangers. And I know we talked about it last week and we had all these theories and none of them were really right. We were all kind of dancing around it, but we didn't have all the information until episode 8. And like you said, with the sisters, where they were all in this like convent, right? This orphanage where they're being raised. I can't remember her name. The one with the crazy eyes who does the flower fire. She decides to go back and finds like an underground lair. And so she's kind of going through her past trauma, remembering things. But one of the sisters is still alive down there.
Still there.
And
she's totally creepy too. She's like she's like, "Oh, hello, how are you? Like I'm here, like I'm trembling." And they're like, "Why are you shaking so much?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm this God of destruction." Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and she's doing like all this earthquake stuff going on. But we find out because when they're kind of spying around, like all the books are about like plants and bugs and
Bugs.
food
What's
and
this?
And they're like, this is so mundane.
What's
What does this
the
have to do with
connection?
anything? And the girl starts like panicking. She's like, oh my God. She's like, put it together. I'm like, what is it? She's like, they named us all after plants and they have been feeding us bugs. They've been putting the Adela bugs in our food to try and create the pillars, but it didn't work
Create
for
Adela
everybody.
Yep.
And some of them, they all got burned, right? Because there's that traumatic like past of hers where like all the sisters got burned up. But we find out the reason that there are doppelgangers is there's an exact duplicate of every single person in Adela. And the pillars are they're trying to bring Adela to Earth to create hell.
It's
And so
it's
this-
the upside down.
Yeah.
It's the
Yes.
upside down for Stranger Things.
Yes.
Okay.
So spontaneous combustion is when your doppelganger takes you over essentially and becomes
over.
them in your world.
And it's cool too because the nun lady just sits there the whole time, and she explains her shivering. She says it's too cold, and that's why she wants to bring about the destruction of the world.
Just put on a sweater.
I know, I'm like,
Well, I mean, here's my question then. If you have an exact copy and your doppelganger is in our world, is Shinra's mom in the other world? Because there's no food in Adela. Like, I don't think.
Well, like I think
Maybe shadow food. I don't know.
I think because the sisters she like summons the sisters back, and they're like these tiny little like gremlin creatures, and they're like, help
they're
us,
cognizant.
we're burning, and it's real creepy.
it
and, like,
hurts, it hurts.
yeah, but I don't know if that's just the demons like trying to appeal
Mess
to
with
her
her.
soft side, or if that's like actually them burning in hell. Either way,
Well-
it's very creepy.
So, like, that brings to the question: is the sister in 8 a part of this? Is she?
Oh,
it does-
absolutely, because she was
Right?
raised in that
Yep.
orphanage, and we kind of got the hint that she's the new pillar, right?
But
She
is
finally
she
came online.
aware? Is she aware?
I don't think so. I think
Because she's so
repressing
innocent, but
this.
that's such a like that would be such a twist.
Oh my gosh! If she comes and like pulls the mask off at the end, and is like, "Ha ha! I am a bad guy," and I've been like, "Oh."
I've been
I-
feeding information out of 8 the whole time.
I'd have a hard time with that too, because
There's no hints.
She's there's no hints, and she's that character that like when you look at her and the way that she presents herself, she's that shy, unassuming kind of like, oh, I'm here, I'm a support character, and
Yeah.
that would kill me.
But I've been wondering the whole time, when is she going to get a story? Right? And so is she going to get an evil story, or is she going
Because
to get
she's in the trailers, like when the opening sequences and stuff, like
Mhm.
she's very prominent in those.
When it's
and
talking
so,
about raffles and everything, yeah. I don't know. It's all going to come together, and I don't think we're going to get the answers we want this season because it's a 2-part. It's getting split, and the other half will come to us in fall. And so I think we're probably going to end on a massive cliffhanger. And I would not be surprised if the cliffhanger she's like pulls off the mask and it's like dun dun, join us
But-
next season.
her
That would
ability
be
like
cool.
it seems to be she can manipulate other people's fire, which will be kind of interesting because like when the dragon just blew all that fire that should have cooked everyone,
Yeah.
everyone was okay.
on
Like, the-
either that or like when I saw it, because he said something where he says, was that divine grace? Like he knew what it was. And it almost made me think of, if you guys ever watched Black Clover, there's the girl with the red cat or whatever. She can like rewind time. And like say the threads of fate that she tugs on. I wonder if it's something in that realm of like, I don't know.
I think
I really hope she's not bad. I really
think
hope.
she is what Captain Burns thought he was. Like he thought he was this like I'm the champion of God kind of thing. But I think he was kind of the false version of that. And I think she's the true like cleric, right? Like she's gonna be the one to call down prayer and get the faith and the holy magic and like be able to save them from hell from her
Okay.
beliefs.
So
which
this
I
is
think
just
would be awesome.
this is a spitball. This isn't like I didn't put a lot of deep thought to this. So so Burns looks into the Adela, right? And he sees a goddess who takes his eye, right? If whatever's
got the
in
weird creepy
Adela, there is a flip side to it. Is Aramatsu have the sun god inside of it, which is powering the whole city? Because we know that there's a sacrifice in the Aramatsu, right? The power source for the whole city.
Right.
I wonder if that is on the flip side, the goddess like that's in the Adela. Like that makes the
Trying
Adela
to break
links.
free.
Well, or like, or they flip
Which
them.
episode was that?
That's the goddess who's trying to get back to their world, but like,
Oh,
right?
I
And-
see.
yeah,
That's an
So-
interesting theory.
yeah. So I don't know. Like, I just think that might have a tie-in because I feel like we haven't figured that out. Because remember when like Arthur does like circumference.
Oh, yeah.
That was like one of my favorite parts, right? But like we haven't figured out that either.
Oh, speaking of Arthur, man, we get this such good like. So he's really down on his luck because he lost his dragon fight and his sword is broken. And Vulcan is like, "Don't worry, like we'll forge you a new sword." And he like plans this like
How
quest
can you do
for
it?
him to like get
Oh
a new
my
sword.
gosh.
And he goes to all the different shops in Asakusa and tells them like, "Hey, just deliver this one line." So he goes and talks to him, and they're like, you have to get the thing from the gardener.
And it does
then he
the
asks him
little,
again,
like,
and he says the line again. He's
click,
like, it's like
and
a
it says,
video game. They're only
like a
programmed
video
to say
game.
one thing.
Yeah. My
So he
my
just
favorite
goes
part of that
so
is like at the beginning when he's sitting there, he's all down on himself and he's like, "Man, this just looks like high carbon steel. Like, where did you get this from? Like a what was it?
Like
Like
you get
a
from,
Home
like, Home
Depot or
Depot?
something?" And he's like, no, like this is orichalcum. This is something that I had to get, blah, 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 blah. And so he gets talking to him a little more. And then at the end, he's like, okay, it was from like Home Depot. Like,
Yeah, and then the like very end of that, he's like, he leaves him this kind of cryptic clue where it's like, basically he's trying to play the trope of like everything is back at the beginning, like the thing you were searching for is where you were the whole time, but it just goes way over Arthur's head because he's not that bright, and so he's like, oh, it's in the underground tunnels, of course it is, and he's like, no, and he's like, let's go, and then the episode ends. So they've got to like follow him into these tunnels to
surely
forge a
we
new
have to go.
I mean, it's a great adventure for Arthur. Now, I think so. That means everyone's going to have a rematch, right? Gold is dead, but then the dragon's going to have a rematch with Arthur. So I think that's where our penultimate will come to.
Yeah, I think
for
so.
this one. Like,
I think so.
I think Arthur's going to have a redemption. Shinra's going to maybe meet his brother again because I think Sho needs to switch sides.
Yeah, and they shared an Adela link, I think in 7 or maybe it was 6.
Well, and it showed Shinra as a hero. Right, and his brother believing him he was a hero. So,
and he knows who he is now. He called him his brother, older brother.
Yeah. So a lot of interesting stuff going on in that show. I still think it's just such an interesting concept to take like faith and like superpowers of like a firefighter and like smash them together. It's so weird, and
weird.
somehow it just works. Like it's so there's so much depth to it for that reason, and I don't know. I just really like it.
And it still plays the same notes, I feel like, when we get to Soul Eater, right? Mm-hmm. And some of the stuff that they have there. Like, that's what I love about it, is it still has those notes throughout it. So if you love that kind of stuff, I think...
Well, and I remember watching Soul Eater the first time, and I was like, yeah, this is going to be cool. Like, but then I was like, oh, this is more than just cool. This is just... This is awesome.
I've put off watching Soul Eater because I knew there was a tie-in with Fire Force. I was like, you know what? I'm going to wait because I know this is a prequel. And then when we get to the end, I'll be so excited I won't be able to stop myself, and then I'll just go watch Soul Eater.
Just a whiny warning, though. There is a guy in Soul Eater that is whiny. So if your bullshit meter says, I don't like whiny, then...
Well, and like, I don't know if you guys have watched Bleach, but like the final arc of the 1,000-Year Blood War, when he's going up against all the Quincy's have fucking ridiculous powers. Like, that is the only way to describe him. Like I am a superhero, and I believe I'm a superhero, so I'm a superhero, and I'm gonna kick your ass, right? That's like one dude's superpower. Like, I'm a hero, heroes can't lose, so I'm gonna win every time. Like, my name's Blazer, I can shoot fire, I'm freaking awesome, right? Like, they just have like these insane powers that break the concepts of all the powers you've thought of before. I feel like Soul Eater does that all the time. Right? Like, there's the star power, there's the arrow power, there's so many crazy things. Like, there's the dude who holds the guns upside down. Right? Like, it's just crazy.
And their weapons are all sentient and turn into humans.
Yeah,
and like,
it's so weird. Insane.
It's weird.
Say no more. You're selling me on this thing.
Like, and so like,
it's weird.
I feel like every time I watch the 1,000-Year Blood War and I see that dude with the star, I'm like, it's freaking from, like, I swear it's from Soul Eater. Because so, like, I don't know, I think you just enjoy the ridiculousness of Soul Eater.
Just expect, because Fire Force, I think, takes a much more serious note, whereas Soul Eater takes a much more lighthearted, and I kind of felt like me a little bit of Hogwartsy, right? Like, in the sense of like, there's the school, there's death, there's all kinds of stuff. And I've been watching in different places, and I almost thought I spotted him in one of these things, but it wasn't him. It was someone else. And so now I'm wondering if one of the pillars ends up being
more important
than like a carryover.
Very interesting.
And I think,
maybe that's the guy in the what do you call it? Maybe he's the god, the soul god, right?
Okay, yeah, maybe that's a good point.
I don't know.
Well, we will find out when this thing wraps up, I'm sure, because it seems like it's going to tie directly in. So it'll be really cool.
Awesome.
But yeah, that's episodes 7 and 8. And next week we're going to watch 9 and 10. And I can't believe it. 9 and 10, like that, basically at that point, you're in the home stretch for the season. Pretty soon we're going to have to start talking about what we are looking at for summer. We're going to maybe have to pull up some trailers or something and watch through some and figure out what kind of stuff we're going to want to watch, because summer season is around the corner and there are some absolute bangers coming up that I cannot wait to watch. and it's gonna crunch into some of our shows because To Be Hero X is a 2-core show, sort of the Demon Hunter is a 2-core show. So we're gonna have to figure out. I just don't think we're gonna be able to do all of it. So we're probably gonna have to, drop some, shuffle some, move some other ones in. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go.
We'll make it happen.
There's some really cool stuff coming up. So, anyways, it's been a fun discussion, guys. I always love hanging out with you. So
Thanks
and,
Down, for having us.
Oh, likewise, man.
Yeah, and if you haven't already, follow us on socials. We're pretty active in our shorts. That's like where we're getting most of our traction. So, follow us on YouTube, follow us on TikTok. We've had a couple go pretty big, not like huge, like big for us, right? Like 30,000. We had one go for like 12 and 8. So thank you to anybody who's interacted with our content. Give us comments, hearts, likes, whatever.
Give us thumbs down, dude. Like your opinion's trash. Like I'm okay with that. Like,
Tell us
yeah, but
what you
just give a
feel.
comment though too, so for the algorithm boost.
like
right?
hate us a little bit, right? So I can argue back. Like we'll put your comment up and I'll argue. Yeah.
Some of you have some wild opinions on how we should be watching
Gundam.
Gundam. So
That's what got people is effing Gundam. Like,
I know, like they're like, that's not how you watch Gundam. I'm like, but it is though. Like,
so
I'm telling you,
worse. So like I'm thinking back to your list, and I'm like, oh yeah, one I wouldn't recommend, but I can't say that; it'll make people mad.
No, make people mad.
Yeah,
Let's go.
yeah, I wouldn't
love to
recommend
be
Gundam.
mad.
And I bet my brother who builds Gundams is just like, you asshole.
It's probably him.
Yeah,
on
it's
the
probably
video.
A
him.
bunch of
Just,
bots.
He's the tuxedo mask that he's riding on the other side.
yeah. It's funny because I bet the moment I pick up Gundam and I really give it a shot, I'm gonna love it. Like that's the worst part.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
100%.
It's pretty good. Yeah. Anyways, we'll save that. We could do a whole Gundam episode one day. So, anyways, yeah, like Preston said, give us the hearts. I can't do it. I'm an old. I don't know how to do Gen Z stuff.
No, I
What is it?
no.
How do
My
you-
daughter
how do you
does it
do
all the time. I can't do it.
No,
My
that's the
hands-
old way. It's,
just gonna go.
This is the millennial way, right? What's the?
No, I
it's like-
don't know. Like
This is the
fingers
one
can't do
that I
it.
see.
this is gonna be a clip of us just trying to do hearts.
do you-
Like,
We're like doing like blood drips and throwing gang signs.
It's just a Naruto.
Yeah.
but that's gonna be Captain Planet at the end, and I'm gonna go the power of heart.
Unite.
Oh my gosh, we just did Fairy Tale.
All
Love it.
right. Well, we'll sign off with that. Good night, everybody. See ya.
Thanks, everybody.